I'm not going to pretend that I don't enjoy discourse like this because obviously I get to make content from it. I just hate that it's the same discourse every single year because I feel like it gets dumber every single year. That's it. That's my intro. Hi, I'm Amanda. I talk for a living and I'm professionally curious, and you're watching Swell Entertainment, the channel where I get to talk about whatever I want and explain it to you every Tuesday. And today we are talking about raps, specifically book raps on BookTok. But I wanted to first take this intro to talk about raps a little bit because raps are something that obviously was popularized by Spotify Wrapped, and now it's become like this weird yearly thing with raps, okay? I don't engage with the Spotify Wrapped. I actually canceled my Spotify account this year as part of my no-buy year. It was one of the things that I got rid of. Frankly, I do feel I am happier because of it. There's certain things I don't need to know about. Even my YouTube Wrapped that I got, they did a YouTube Wrap this year. I have enjoyed being tagged in all of your guys' like top 5, seeing that I'm in one of your top 5 creators that you've been watching. That's really cool. Side note, it is very interesting because I do see a trend where either I am the only women or femme presenting creator in your top 5, or it's all women and femme presenting creators and I'm one of them. Let me know if that's different for you, okay? And you've got like 2 or 3 women and then like the rest are men or something like that. One of you had an AI cartoon channel and you're like, I almost replied, are you 5? I'm confused. My YouTube Wrapped was very incorrect, which I thought was weird. Certain elements were correct. I've apparently watched like 982 different channels this year. Like the full different channels, videos from different channels, which tracks. I like a variety of random content, but some trends that it saw, I was like, that's not, maybe in January, maybe February, March, whatever, but like the rest of the year, that's not accurate. So that was weird, but it's the rap time of year. It's Rapmas, if you will. We also have things like booked raps, okay? So like some popular ones are Goodreads, some popular ones are Storygraph. That's what I'm currently using. Fable, we talked about Fable a lot last year. Fable did a Wrapped that included, I believe, an AI summary. We talked about that. That upset a lot of people. A lot of these raps are now utilizing AI because they're like, oh, this is an easy way to like summarize things, okay? And everyone's trying to use AI. Don't worry, I'm not going into detail. But without fail, every year, the last couple of years on TikTok at this time of year, whether they are posting a Wrapped from a book tracker site or they're just sharing their stats for the year or they're making their own Wrapped of like, here's what I loved, here's what I didn't, here's how many books I read, here's how many books I DNF'd, did not finish. There is the same discourse every year, and it usually comes around when people are talking about how they read more than 100 books in one year. Every year. It's the dumbest, silliest discourse I think I've seen in a while. There's like dumb discourse daily, I would say. TikTok is rife with it, obviously. But BookTok sometimes has the most insane, silly, idiotic takes for rules put onto reading that I personally find. And policing the amount of books that people read in a year, a single calendar year, I think is the silliest one personally. Because as someone who is dyslexic, who has had to like work for my ability to read and is very proud of my ability to read, I can't imagine being annoyed, feeling some type of way about someone that I don't follow or engage with, their video hitting my feed, or even if I did follow them, their video hitting my feed, okay? And them excitedly talking about their books for the year. Maybe they're sharing their TBR for next year to be read, okay? Maybe they're, just detailing books they did like, what they didn't like, their favorite ones of their 100+ books in a year. I can't imagine looking at that and then being like, this bitch, how dare she? I only read 12. My goal for this year was 12. I just hit 12 literally yesterday. Last year, I think what did I put it at? 50 or 60 books? I put something insane, okay? Because I thought that last year I could try and force my pandemic lockdown reading cadence onto 2024 working, traveling Amanda's life. I got to like 22. I did pretty solid. Was never going to hit 50, okay, obviously. But still, this year I was like, let's be a little more realistic. I just hit my goal of 12. I was like 1 book a month. I probably could have done more. I did a lot more reading of articles. I read a lot more fan fiction this year. Okay. And I did something that I'm not super proud of where on a lot of my shorter flights for traveling, instead of reading like I normally do, I was scrolling TikTok, which is part of my job, but I should be taking that time to read and I wasn't. I also am very much a vibes reader where there are times where I can read 5 books in a week. Then there are times where I don't pick up a book for 2 months, which for myself, I am not happy with. I don't want to sit here and say that that's not good enough because some of you maybe haven't picked up a book since you were in school. And for me, I want it to be better. This is a personal thing. I want to be reading more than 1 book a month for myself. I mean, before March, I have at least 3 motorsport books that I'm trying to read before the start of the F1 season because I have them. They've been sitting on my shelf. I should get through them. So that's one of my goals. Hopefully 3 books by March. That's easy. Okay. I very easily can read a book a week. I'm self-employed. I can schedule my own time. Okay. There's no reason I shouldn't be putting more books away in a year, frankly. I need to get better at that. That's one of my plans for 2026. I do want to hit at least 22 books, 24. Let's double it. Okay. But I can't imagine looking at my life, looking at what I've read, and then applying that, my feelings on me not reading more, and being annoyed with someone who read 100 books. You know what I'm saying? And yet every year we have this discourse. Last year, I don't remember this woman's screen name, so I can't find it. But one woman, I believe, shared that she shared her book wrapped, and she was like, I was able to read, 220 books this year. I didn't think I got that high. And someone went to her Goodreads and was like, you didn't read 220 books. You have kids' books on your Goodreads. That doesn't count. And she was like, I read to my kid at night. I log it so that he can have the logs later or whatever. I hate to break it to you. If it logs as a book, it's a book. There's a lot of essays that get logged as books on Goodreads. My Stream and I were going through the high school level reading lists with 300 books on it for required reading because a lot of high school students in English class are not reading full chapter books, multiple in a semester, which is crazy to me because I think I read at least 2 or 3 books each grade in English class alone just for analyzing classwork, and that wasn't even including outside reading. So that's insane to me. There were some things that were logged as required reading in books in there that were 5-6 pages. I hate to break it to you, if it lets you log it as a book, even if it's 15 pages and there's pictures on all of them, that does in fact count. and so that was the last year's main discourse, was people being annoyed about that. Oh, you must only be listening to audiobooks. Audiobooks also count as reading. You must be, reading KU, Kindle Unlimited books super fast or something like that. You must be skipping body paragraphs or something crazy. You must only be reading dialogue. Being I just don't get, or does no one have a life? I don't know. I know I'm saying that about while I'm also talking about people that read 100 books a year, where there's plenty of people I know who are in school that are getting their PhDs, that is a very reasonable amount for them to be reading because they're reading a couple books a week for their research. They also happen to read for fun when they feel like it, that's a very reasonable number. But I don't know. I can't imagine why do we care? Why do you care? Are you policing how someone reads or how they engage with work? I mean, in this current day with AI, with everything, I'm just grateful people read. I'm at this point in my life where I have friends that are like, oh my gosh, Amanda reads real books. It's yeah, I enjoy it. What did you last read? To the point that I have started assigning my friends hey, please just in the next week, just read 10 pages. Anything you want. Anything. Just read 10 pages. That's all I'm asking. Pick anything you want. Just read 10 pages because they haven't read a book in 5 years. And I'm let's work on that. Let's just start reading something, anything. You don't need to finish it. Just 10 pages. That's all I'm asking. I'm signing reading now. If you're watching this right now, when this video is done, please read 5 pages. Anything. Read an article, a long article, start to finish. Just read it. And then I'm not even kidding. Say out loud what you read. Please. Comprehension, memory, people are not retaining what they read a minute ago in adulthood. It's getting bad. I'm scared. Okay, so I'm grateful. If you're reading 100 books, I'm hoping you're just retaining it, because I do know people, there have been times where I've read a book and I'm I don't know what I read, and that's because I didn't care about it. Oh, another thing, this is a dyslexia tip that I think I've shared about in a video previously or something like that. I'm not sure. I have a 100-page rule. This is something that was told to me by one of my dyslexia teachers when I was growing up and trying to learn to read with chapter books and things like that. And that is give yourself 100 pages, give the book 100 pages, because I would be like, this book is bad. And they're like, is it bad or is it hard for you to read? And so if I got to 100 pages and the book was still bad, I was allowed to stop reading the book and I was allowed to do not finish, DNF the book. But if I got it to 100 pages and I was like, okay, yeah, it's gotten better, and if a book sucks to 100 pages, I don't think, save your time. Move along, but that was very helpful for me as a kid. And it's a book, it's a rule I still live by. If I get to 100 pages and your book is still irritating to me, or it's written horribly, or, it's just not entertaining to me, I do let myself DNF it. Little fun tip. I think that's really helpful because I do think the constant scroll is affecting our ability to read. There's more studies of that. It's happening more in schools. And so please read. Okay. But every year though, there's one video about someone getting so upset, okay, about people reading over 100 books. This year it was Melody's video. And Melody has a handful of followers. She's got almost, I think, the same amount I do. She's got almost 60K followers. Okay. I should note before you watch the video from Melody. Melody is not saying that she doesn't believe people that read 100 books. She's saying she believes you, but if you're unemployed, you have to tell us that first.
Can an unemployed person and an employed person read 100 books? Yes. I'm not saying if you read 100 books, you're unemployed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you know that you're unemployed, and you read 100 books, maybe don't come on here telling other people, well, maybe if you just put down your phone, like you could read 100 books too. You could just do it by like getting off your phone and like spending less screen time. Maybe you're not clocking in ever. You don't clock in, period. Don't tell someone else that they can read the same amount of books as you if they like got off their phone. Like, I don't know. And I think it's when people don't preface their videos by saying, I read 130 books this year. By the way, I don't have a job. When you don't preface your video with that, people that are amazed by your ability to read so many books while having a job are like, how do you have time? And I think the question is like it's a genuine curiosity. And then you think that they don't believe you, but really they're just amazed by you. Of course, this is only directed at the people who don't have a job, who are coming at people, like telling people, you just play on your phone all day and that's why you don't read 100 books like me. This is for that specific like subset of people. So if you're not in that set of people, I'm not talking about you, okay? Rest assured, rest easy. This is a small group of people. I'm sure you've seen them, you might not be them, but that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, Melody. A horrible time for this, okay? Forget even like the time of year discourse, okay? So many people don't have jobs right now. We're probably going to have more layoffs in January because that's what happens. Not a good time. So she's talking about a very specific type of video where someone is like, I read 100 books. And then if someone's like, oh my God, how did you do that? Which I don't know why people ask that question. I'm silly. I don't know. How did you do that? I think they read the books. Like, I don't know. If I would get defensive, if someone asked me that too. She is saying that you need to preface that you read 100 books with, I don't have a job. And then she seems to say that people that are saying you could read 100 books too if you weren't scrolling on your phone. I haven't seen that take. That's my own take. I could read more books if I wasn't scrolling on my phone. That's my own take for myself. Okay, but I haven't seen that take from other people, especially people that are reading 100 books. Maybe I'm just not seeing those videos. Sure. And even everyone in the comments is like, what are you talking about? Apparently the follow-up video that was deleted was her doubling down and saying that she didn't say that they need to put a disclaimer in their videos saying that they don't have a job when that is what she is saying. You may not have used the word disclaimer. You're saying preface, which is essentially a disclaimer, like you were starting out like, by the way, I don't have a job. Here's how I read 100 books, or I'm reading 100 books or anything like that. Again, a lot of people don't have jobs right now. Just a rough video. So there's a lot of responses to this. Here's a couple.
Her controversial opinion fails to consider the emotional and mental toll that unemployment can take on a person. It fails to consider the amount of time that unemployed people put into job hunting, into resume prepping, into making cover letters every single day. And it fails to consider the objective difficulty in buying books and being a reader with someone who does not have an income. We literally have no idea what's going on in anyone's life at any given time. So I'm not going to say that someone's life is easier than mine because I have to go to work and they don't. I'm not going to say that someone has more time than me because I have to clock into work and they don't. And if you manage to read over 100 books or 200 or 300 books this year and you want to give tips to other people on how to do that, I think that you should do that regardless of your employment status, because the facts are the facts and it doesn't matter who's saying it.
I think it's just the tone of the video too. Like, you don't have a job, you don't clock in. Like, okay, yeah, it's really hard to get a job right now. I don't know. Like it's such a hostile video. And it's like someone said, I hope the one person you made this about sees it or something like that. Like, okay, we all have to deal with this take because one person upset you or something like that. Again, I think also the thing that people aren't understanding, there are 52 weeks in a year, right? I'm going to double check. There are 52 weeks in a year. Okay. You can read 100 books in a year if you simply read about 2 books a week. That is doable for many a person. That is doable for a lot of people. Fiction, nonfiction, self-help, audiobooks, whatever, like it is extremely doable for people, especially if you have assigned reading, required reading, whatever. Like you can do that. It is very doable. I found one person, she's like in the comment section, she's like, I am a stay-at-home mom. I hit 100 books by reading, just before bed every single night. Like that's how I hit 100 books. I'm not reading throughout the day. I'm doing stuff with my kids and things like that. And I hit that. I do like this one video because she uses the word gremlin, and I love the word gremlin. Live from my full-time job with 140 books read. It's possible, you weird gremlin. Melodies is the big video that everyone is talking about this year. Someone had to do it, I guess. In 2025 and now going into 2026, I can't imagine being bothered by the quantity of books that someone else reads and then needing to assuage my feelings over it by judging, like, say, the quality of the books or the quality of their life in order to get to this quantity. You get my point? Like, I can't, like, oh, I bet they're only reading, like, poorly written romance smut novels or something like that. I don't, who cares? What does that do to you? Why are we in competition with people we've never met on the internet? I mean, that's the entirety of the internet, but you get my point. Like, who cares? Actually go touch grass, maybe, while you're reading the books. Maybe that'll help things. I don't know. Like, it's very silly. It's very silly. And again, I'm so sorry. You're not clocking in. We know you. Oh, God. Everyone I know that's unemployed that is trying to get a job, like they're working trying to get a job. It's just really hard to get a job right now. And why are we taking digs at people that are unemployed? It's just the tone of the video is so irritated and like so hostile that I'm like, are you good? Like, I don't know. There was a book that I did listen to the audiobook this year. And though I hated the reveal of this book, there was a needle drop moment in the last chapter that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. And I'm honestly glad it was an audiobook form when I was listening to it. I listened to it on audiobook. It was my perfect marriage. I'm not telling you what it was, okay? But there was such a good, I didn't like the reveal of the book, but that's because I don't like this type of reveal lately. I feel like a lot of suspense, mystery type of novels like this have this type of reveal lately, and it's been driving me insane. It's even though I don't know when this, Anyways, okay. But there was a needle drop moment that happened in the audiobook. And I think I was like brushing my teeth or something. Like I was listening to it while I was getting ready. And I had to pause it. I was like, what? Okay. And I can't imagine doing that and then thinking, but so-and-so probably read another 3 books while I was listening to this audiobook. Like I can't. Because I had that experience while listening to this book. I can't imagine being irritated later down the line of like, oh yeah, while I was listening to this one, while I paused this audiobook to experience that one moment of, oh my God, for that reveal, I can't imagine then later down the line being like, wow, while I was listening to that, if I had been listening on 2.5 speed, I would have beat so-and-so. Like, I can't imagine doing that. That's crazy. Don't you guys just like reading? Don't you guys want to like feel that? Like have that gut punch moment of a reveal in a final chapter of a novel? Like, don't you want that? Don't you want to like have your mind opened up because you read like a nonfiction book or a memoir and you were like, oh my God, that makes this person's like whole life come into context. Like, don't you want, or are you just reading so you can have 150? Like, do you want to be in competition with people that read that many books at the end of the year? You know what I'm saying? Don't you guys just like art and reading and books? There's no point to this video other than, my God, please, I need everyone to grow up. Actually, this is how so many of these videos at the end of the year wrap up to, is just me being like, I need everyone to get a grip because everyone gets insane at this time of year. So do I get crazy. But that's just, I have a rule where I don't allow myself to engage in the comment sections because I get really sensitive. And some of you are stupid. No, I'm kidding. So my rule, so I'm not mean to you, is to not engage. Okay. That's my rule for myself, because I get anxious and sensitive at this time of year, and some people are crazy. Okay. And so that's something I've had to learn. I have to learn that I need to like put those restrictions on myself. Maybe at this time of year, for some of you, you just don't post a video. Because some of you have insane takes. I just don't get why people are like, I don't believe that you read 100. Like, did you actually read 300 books? You know what? I'm just going to make up that I read 500 books next year and see what happens. That's my new goal. I'm telling you now, next year I'm going to make up that I read 500 books. I don't care if I read 5. Let's see what happens. I'm going to make a rage bait video. Let's see what happens. Anyways, did you read? Have you read before? What book tracker do you use? I know some people that use Notion, but like I love a graph. I love you've read a lot from this author, and then I'm like, oh dear God, I need to pivot. I need to read more different things. You know what I'm saying? Like I love personal data. That's why I like StoryGraph. I also like knowing the average length of the books that I'm reading. That's always nice. Let me know what you're reading. How many books did you hit? Have you seen any insane BookTok, book reading, end of year wrapped video takes? What's the craziest company or site that gave you a wrap this year? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder to stream on Twitch. Reminder the Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to check out Girly Pop Go if you'd like to see more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members who also like to join channel memberships. Go ahead and click join down below if you'd like to follow me on social media. That'll be all up here, and that's going to have a lovely day. Goodbye. You're not clocking in. As someone that doesn't clock in because I'm self-employed, I also could be reading more, but like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, you're unemployed. Like, are you insane? Can you imagine me, self-employed, YouTuber? Can you imagine me being like, you read 100 books? Are you sure? Are you unemployed? You guys would eat me alive because that's insane. You know what I'm saying?